Hello, this is Nicole Whitlock with Ecom Sellers Summit. And today I am so excited, not about necessarily the topic, but I am excited to talk to the person. So I figured we're going to talk about taxes. We need something a little more festive. So I put on my Santa hat.
And I love it because your cheeks are rosy, your lips are rosy, you just rosy.
I am. I couldn't find my Santa t-shirt because I have a t-shirt that's like a fake Santa shirt or whatever, elf shirt. I couldn't find it, so hopefully I'll find it for the next broadcast. But I figured since we were talking about something that most people don't like to talk about, which is taxes, then I would go ahead and, do something.
Yeah, spruce it up a bit.
So welcome. Hey guys, if you will do me a favor, share this out or tag a friend. Let everybody know we're going to be talking about taxes because we got to get ready for 2021. I know we're all ready for 2020 to leave. Like we're real to get out of here. Like we're ready for 2020 to leave. We've had enough of 2020. It's overstayed its welcome for sure.
Yes, ma'am. Totally agree.
All right, so Miss LuSundra, I'm just going to say this. If you don't know who she is, LuSundra Everett is very well versed in taxes and everything to do with taxes. And all of us as business owners, we should get our stuff together for 2021, if not get our stuff together for 2020. So there's still time to compile all your books and your records and all that other stuff. And so LuSundra is here to give us the tips that we need so we can make, one, good decisions for 2021, and also, two, so we can figure out what it is we need to pull together for 2020. So the floor is yours.
Okay, so y'all know, if you've been around me for like 5 minutes, you know I am usually not the presentation chick. Today, I'm the presentation chick, okay? Because there's a lot going on in these tax streets right now, and the new bill is just short of 6,000 Senate pages, so it's probably condensed, like 3,000 regular pages. So it's been, the 2019 tax season really has not ended for a lot of tax professionals. So if your tax person seems a little stressed out, it's because we are. And so along with that, with the bill that has passed, overnight, it's just a lot. So that's why we presentation chick today. Okay, so let me see if I can get this right and try to share my screen properly.
I understand.
Okay, we're gonna share this. All right. Oh, wait, I could do this on my screen too. Shut up. Okay, hold on. I didn't know I could do that.
All right, so evidently there's a lot of stuff we need to know, y'all. So get your pen and paper. You need to tell another entrepreneur, say, hey, we need to get our taxes right. We need to get our stuff together so we don't, we're not spending any quality time with the IRS in 2020.
Yeah. Okay, because that ain't what you want.
No, you don't want to spend any time with the IRS in 2021.
Okay, so can you see my screen? Ooh, you can. This is fire. Ooh, okay, so I don't need that part. Okay.
What I can do is I can make it full screen. So I'm going to make it full screen so you can keep talking in the background.
Okay, awesome. So because I'm over here technologically screwing up. All right. So yeah, here's some critical updates. Here's who I am. I am the home biz tax lady and the principal owner of Everett Tax Solutions, where we focus on helping you win the tax game. And today we're going to be talking about some 2020 updates and also some stuff that's happening on these tax streets. So the main thing that's on everybody's mind, of course, is the stimulus package update. So as far as I know, as of 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the president has not signed this into law. What does that mean? That means we could be talking about this for absolutely nothing, because if he doesn't sign it, it does not become law. But we are talking about it because it is so close to the end of the year. There are so many provisions that are applicable for the 2020 year, but also going into 2021. And you need to know so that you can be asking the right questions when you go to get your taxes prepared. Okay, so the stimulus payments, they are, that's how everybody knows them. The plan is for it to be $600 for single people, $1,200 for married filing joint couples, and $600 for dependents under age 17. So this is split in half from the last stimulus package, okay? Now, the income limitations are the same: $75,000 for single, $112,500 for head of household, $150,000 married filing joint. So going above those limits, the amount of payment you will get will be gradually phased out until you reach the upper income limit. It is going to be based on your 2019 adjusted gross income. Okay, I have a lot of people asking about babies born in 2020. No, it is based on your 2019 return. This bill says that these payments have to be issued by January 15th. So again, the plan is to do the direct deposit thing again. Hopefully it works. We saw the debacle with people who got bank products, those refund advance type loans. We saw it was trash. But so hopefully they get this right. But the best thing is if they get these payments out by the 15th of January, it's not going to impact tax season, because that really is just not what you want, just to be honest with you. And I also have people concerned about repaying this. These payments are an advance on a tax credit. So instead of you getting the tax credit on your tax return, they're putting the tax credit in your hands, okay? And the reason that's actually a good thing is because when it's a tax credit on your tax return, that's not tangible dollars you can use in your hand. When you're getting a direct deposit into your bank account, that's tangible cash that you can use, okay? All right, PPP loan updates. Woo! All right, so we know the PPP funding has been a hot button issue. The first round of PPP funding was trash because the larger corporations jumped that. Now, understand that the larger corporations did not do anything illegal. It was the way that the law was written that made the execution trash, okay? So now there's PPP Part 2 that's coming. There are specific qualifications now. Not more than 300 employees, and you must show not less than a 25% reduction in gross revenue from the previous quarter. So it can be the quarter preceding when you apply, or the previous year during the same time, okay? And if you would be eligible for a second PPP loan if you have or you will use all of the first PPP loan, okay? There was a huge drama around the PPP forgiveness. Part of that was the economic injury disaster loans, the EIDL advances. Originally, if you got that advance at $1,000 per employee, if your PPP loan was forgiven, that forgiveness amount was reduced by the amount of advance you got. So let's say that you got a $5,000 PPP loan and a $1,000 EIDL advance. Well, previously you would have gotten forgiveness for that $5,000, but had to pay back that $1,000 advance. That is no longer the case. Okay, so there are people who have applied for forgiveness and have had to pay back that advance. You need to get back in touch with your lender to get that payment back. Okay, the next thing was the deductibility of expenses. The way that the law usually works is when you get free money, okay, for lack of a better term, when you get free money like a grant or a loan forgiven, the expenses that you cover with that free money is usually not tax deductible. That's the way the law was. But that with the previously, that's not what Congress intended. Well, unfortunately, that was the law. And so please understand that on a normal day, when you get grants or anything like that, if those types of that type of funding that covers expenses, that money is not treated as income, but you also can't deduct the expenses. So in a roundabout way, it's taxable income, okay? But now what Congress has passed is that the expenses will also be tax deductible. The forgiven amount will not be counted as taxable income. So if you got a PPP loan and it gets forgiven, it really is free money because you do not have to pay it back. You do not have to pay taxes on it, and you get to deduct the expenses. So this is one time in life that you really are getting free money from the government. And you have to have your documentation tight. I even put the letters all tight together so you can get the visual. Because here's the deal. Even with our sole proprietors, okay, sole proprietors are eligible for PPP loans, but you need to show that you paid yourself. I had some client interactions over the weekend. I had one client who was a sole proprietor. She was applying for her loan forgiveness. The loan administrator called her and said, hey, we need a copy of a canceled check. We need evidence that you actually paid yourself with this money. This is why I tell you to have a paper trail, okay? Now, will they accept bank statements? I don't know. This is what they asked her for. Fortunately, she had that. Then, you know, it's also documenting those expenses, those qualified expenses. You need to make sure that the money that you spend this PPP on is not just for payroll. There are other expenses that you can cover with PPP. You need to check with your tax professional if you got a PPP loan to understand what those expenses are. And there are additional expenses that you can pay for with your PPP, okay? So if you got a PPP loan, make sure you check with your tax professional to make sure you understand what expenses can be covered with that money, and also with the economic injury disaster loan. You wanna make sure that you are using that money as it is intended, because otherwise it is fraud. And if it's, you know, if they can prove you were fraudulent, that is a prosecutable offense. So please, oh, please, oh, please make sure that you spend that money properly, or don't spend it at all, okay? That's the message there. All right. Other tidbits that's going on in these tax streets. Okay, so $300 per return charitable deduction for 2020 for non-itemizers. This means that even if you don't itemize, if you give $300 cash, it does not apply to non-cash donations. So if you give $300 cash to a qualified charitable organization, then you can take a $300 above the line. It's called an above the line deduction. Now, what is out in the streets that is actually incorrect? For 2020, it's only $300 per return. It's not until 2021 that you get $300 single and $600 married filing joint. That is for the 2021 year. That does not apply for 2020. And I want to make sure you hear me clearly on this, because there is a 50% accuracy penalty that is tied to this particular deduction. So if you deduct too much and it gets caught, you're going to pay an additional 50% penalty. Okay, business meals are 100% deductible starting January 1, 2021 and going through December 31st, 2022. It's not for 2020. Okay, so what that means is that if you have a business meal, a bona fide business meal that is provided by a restaurant, that means whether you go out to meet with a client or a business associate, as long as it's provided by a restaurant, so you can go out if you got, have it being delivered, anything like that. This deduction has the intent of revitalizing the restaurant industry by making these business meals 100% deductible for 2021 and 2022. Okay. Medical expenses. This is something that has been up and down over the last couple of years. So medical expenses exceeding 7.5% of your adjusted gross income will be tax deductible. It was 10% one year, down to 7.5%. They made this 7.5% permanent, okay? The next thing is the pandemic unemployment assistance. All right, so it was an additional $600 a week provided by the federal government. That has been cut in half to $300 per week. And it is available through March 14th, I do believe, is the maximum, 24 weeks or through March 14th. And that's also in conjunction with anything from the state. Normally, self-employed people are not eligible for unemployment, but for this one, we are, okay, which is actually great. But hear me clearly, you again are going to have to provide that documentation. My second client interaction was with a self-employed person who drew unemployment, and they sent me an email saying, hey, they're asking me for an independent contractor agreement. Like, okay, but I'm not hiring you, so I don't have your independent contractor agreement. So they're going to be asking for this type of documentation for you to really prove that you are eligible to receive this assistance. So yes, you're going to have your records together. The other thing is that the tuition and fees deduction, this is something that's also in and out, okay? The tuition and fees deduction is something that usually adult learners use, when they're going back to get any type of certification or anything like that. The tuition and fees deduction is usually the best tax deduction. Well, it's here for 2020, but it's gone permanently for 2021. But what they have done is increase the income limit for the lifetime learning credit. So if you are, again, going back to school to get some kind of certification or some type of degree, the lifetime learning credit would be available for you, where like the American Opportunity Credit is not, because that's only for a bachelor's degree. The other thing that I want to say that is not on here is really talking about having your bookkeeping and records together, because otherwise, if you don't have that together when they're asking for this documentation, profit and loss statements and all of that, and when you're applying for these different types of funding, if you don't have those things available, you will not get, you won't get funding. Okay, so other stuff that's happening behind the scenes that you need to know, talking about these records. The director of the Small Business and Self-Employed Division has specifically said that audits for small business will increase by 50%. That means my Schedule C filers, mom and pop shops, whether you're the home business owner or you own the sandwich shop around the corner, those audits are going to increase by 50%. Audits for high-income non-filers will also increase. What is a high-income non-filer? Someone who makes about $100,000, but you have not filed your taxes. And there's also going to be audits for high-income earners with S-corps and partnerships as well. They're looking for those. Those are going to increase. It used to be that S-corps and partnerships were the least audited business structures. Well, that's gonna change, and the IRS has increased staffing to really accomplish this mission. We heard back in, I don't know, 2018-ish maybe, is that the IRS lost a lot of funding. Well, they kind of gave that back silently in the night over during 2020. Okay. So they've increased their staffing. I follow these different types of convictions. They have established a new fraud division in the small business self-employed division, and they have been really, really busy with like the PPP loan and the idle loan fraud and that kind of thing. The next thing is, this is something that you definitely need to take note of, is that most states are gradually decreasing their state 1099-K reporting requirement. So 1099-Ks from your third party payers like Amazon, like PayPal, your Stripe, that kind of, credit cards, processors, their federal reporting requirement is $20,000 and 200 transactions. You have to cross both of those thresholds. But more states are gradually decreasing their reporting requirements to be more stringent. So right now, the states that have reporting requirements that are less than federal, they have the $600 requirement is Massachusetts, DC, Mississippi, Vermont, New Jersey, Arkansas, Virginia, and Maryland. Illinois is $1,000. So that means you might not get the feds may not get the 1099-K, which they're still sending it because they got to send it to the state. So just know that those lower thresholds are popping up and becoming more common. All right. And then the last thing is the 1099 miscellaneous. So the 1099 miscellaneous, it still exists, but the non-employee compensation is going to be reported on the 1099 NEC. This is an old form that's made new again. All right. So the reporting requirements are still the same, $600, except you're not going to be using a 1099 miscellaneous this year. You're going to be reporting on the 1099 NEC, non-employee compensation. Deadlines are still the same by January 31st. I think, is that on a weekend? I'm going to look just to be sure. Yes, it is. So they will be due February 1st, 2021. And whoo, okay, I made it. So if you need help, please schedule a call. There is so much that is going on in these tax streets right now. There may be tax credits that you apply to you. There's just a whole lot of stuff going on. If there's anything I will tell you, if you normally do your taxes yourself, that's cool. If nothing, anything special is going on in your tax life, okay, cool. But if you got unemployment, and if you got PPP, you got EIDL, listen, this is not the year to go this alone. So if you need help, you can schedule a call at www.homebiztaxchat.com. I promise you, my calendar is filling quickly. That's why I was telling Nicole, my 2019 has not ended yet. And yeah, the 2020 tax year, filing year, is around the corner. Also, let me also add this because I completely forgot and just popped into my head. For people who had Social Security and Medicare tax deferred, originally that was going to have to be paid back during the first quarter of 2020. Now that time has been stretched out to where you have until December 31st, 2021 to pay that back. Okay, so it's no longer the first quarter of 2021. You have until December 31st, 2021 to pay that back. Okay, if that happened to you. Most people did not do that, but there are some. Okay, so you can schedule a call with me. If you don't see a spot, email me directly. We will try to get you in. And you can also check out my YouTube channel. I will be doing more YouTube videos on this stimulus thing because there's just a whole lot going on. Whew. You're muted. Oh, let me unshare.
Okay. There we go. So at the very, very beginning, that was a lot. But here's the deal. You needed to know this. I'm sorry, I put a cough drop in my mouth. I was like, when you said, okay, they're increasing the audits, I was like, okay, you're like, you need to know that they're increasing the audits.
Yes.
So they got staff for it. They're coming for people. They're coming for businesses.
Yes.
So they're increasing audits by 50%, which is like, wow. So some of the stuff you said that, some of the stuff hasn't been signed into law, or at least you made the reference to, we're still waiting for some, for the president to sign. So, we'll see. I'm sure we'll all find out in the news.
And the other thing I will say, with all of this is, to remember this. There's also the PATH Act. If your tax bill is over $50,000, and it happens because some of y'all are, big ballers and shot callers out here in these e-com streets, okay? When that tax bill gets up to $50,000 and you're considered delinquent, they will shut down your passport. Period. End of discussion. It's happening.
I've heard.
Okay, yeah. Now I'm done.
So these are all important things to consider. I mean, things to keep in mind and consider. And definitely, like I said, it's 12:22 at 6:34 for me, Central Standard Time. So make sure you're paying attention to what's happening in the news and what does actually get passed. Some of that stuff, it doesn't matter, like it's already in place. So you need to be aware of that as well. So come back, rewatch this. I do want to encourage everybody to, if you don't have a tax person, get with LuSundra, reach out to her, get on
and
her.
I will help you find somebody, even if you don't want to work with me. And I also want to say this, Nicole, she reaches out to me. She's like, hey, if you want to promote something, whatever, I come here because I love y'all. I love my e-commerce squad. I am not here to sell anything. I'm here because I truly love my e-commerce squad. It's just a special place in my heart. I love y'all. So that's why I come. Like, why she keep telling me to sell stuff? I'm here because I love y'all.
No, well, I'm just saying if there was something you wanted to share. But here's the deal. People do need to make sure that their affairs are in order. You're going into 2021. We had a very interesting 2020. So there are things that people are not necessarily taking into account or remembering to keep track of and record and whatever. So you need to do those things. Yeah. So, year end is always a great time to take account. To kind of like review what you've done, analyze where you are, see what you need to adjust or change, fix, whatever, and then get your affairs in order so you can go into the new year as best as you can.
Absolutely.
Go into the new year in the best possible position, if possible. Or maybe implement new strategies, new techniques, new ways of doing business, and keep the things in mind when you get ready to file your taxes, because you're going to file taxes. Keep those things in mind when you get ready to file your taxes. What didn't I keep track of? What are the things I should be keeping track of now? What should I be doing differently? I'm still doing that commingling money. I got to stop doing that. Like, what are the things that you're doing that you're not, that are going to make your life a little more challenging than it needs to be unnecessarily? Yeah. If you don't change those habits now, if you don't do those things, make adjustments to those things now, so that in 2021, you are not spending a lot of quality time with the IRS. Like, you really don't want to do that.
You don't.
So a couple of things that I know you've probably done taxes for a few e-commerce sellers. What's like 2 or 3 things that they immediately, like things that they need to stop doing in 2021, or maybe just put it on their plan to change for 2021?
Okay, so number 1 is reporting that 1099K properly. I just had a colleague of mine who has a client who got audited. And what happens is that the third-party reporters, they report your gross sales. What e-commerce people tend to do is report what they got paid. Well, guess who got audited and who got a nice letter? Now, she won because it was just an accounting thing, but because those numbers did not match, she got audited. So just know that they are looking at these things. The second thing that we're talking about what Nicole said is, is really tracking your expenses. And especially for my people who have the S Corps and whatnot, because some people have gone out and formed S Corps, whether they should or should not have. Now there is a requirement for those balance sheets to show up. Here's the deal. If you submit your return without a balance sheet, they can kick it back as an incomplete return, and you will get penalized. As corporate partnership penalties is $200 per month per partner or shareholder, and they won't they montees. Okay, so if you've got those business structures and you don't have that whole balance sheet and bookkeeping thing together, you need to call me. Like, they're not playing. Okay, and the last thing is seriously the documentation. If you don't have the documentation to prove your expenses, they will disallow them. I have a client who got audited. She did not have the proper darn documentation. She came to me to help her with this audit. Well, guess what? She went from owing nothing to owing $35,000 real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
Whoa.
So this documentation thing, I know people like, oh, documentation. When you get audited, if you don't have it, you're done. And with these audits increasing,
Okay, so I'm just gonna say, like, get you, if you're not tracking in some kind of software, even if you do something as simple as a Google Sheet, like whatever it is, make sure you're tracking it. The strategy I've always used, and again, I got a cough drop in my mouth, so I should probably take it out. But
so Nicole has this email that she sends all of her receipts to, so she does not choke and somebody got to do the Heimlich.
Yes, I do. I just took it out. Anyway, but yeah, one of the strategies I use is to try and help or do better at keeping track of everything and keeping everything separate is if I'm going out and I'm doing retail arbitrage, I have established an email address. You can set it up. NicoleTax@gmail.com is what mine is. But every time I go to the store, and I don't have a receipt on my desk, I do have an invoice, but I know I had some receipts. But anyway, I take a picture with my phone of the receipt. And then before I leave, like the register, I have my pen ready. So as soon as they hand me the receipt, I literally write at the top of the receipt immediately and take a picture of the receipt. Even if it's a long receipt, I may take 3 or 4 pieces. And then I immediately forward that to myself, NicoleTax@gmail.com. So I have it already in hand. I also scan it up to, I have it sent up to TaxBot as well. But I forward it to NicoleTax@gmail.com. And then if I have invoices, whatever, if I have any invoices that I have, have orders or shipments that I've got, then I either scan those in or I take a picture of them and I forward them to NicoleTax@gmail.com. If I'm downloading reports, whether I'm downloading reports from Amazon, eBay, whatever platform I'm selling on, then I download those and forward those to NicoleTax@gmail.com. I get my bank statements, I forward those statements to download the PDF and forward it to NicoleTax@gmail.com. Everything lives in NicoleTax@gmail.com. So then that way, if I ever have a situation where I'm working with an accountant, they can literally log into NicoleTax@gmail.com and see all of my different things, my receipts for January, February, March, April, whatever it is. They're in folders inside of NicoleTax@gmail.com, and it makes it easier for them. So you should be keeping track of everything. You should be recording your mileage if you're driving around picking up inventory, if you're dropping off packages, if you are whatever you're having to do, if you've got a local prep center, if you've got a storage unit, I've got a storage unit, your mileage to and from your storage unit, keeping track of your monthly invoices from your storage unit, whatever you're doing, you should be keeping track of all of that stuff, and you should forward it to a separate thing. So that makes it easier from an audit standpoint. If the IRS ever wants to mess with you, all that stuff is somewhere else. You ain't got to give them all your personal stuff. You forwarded anything that can reconcile to what you submitted on your taxes into that Gmail account. And if you had to, you can give them that. And it also makes it easier for your accountant. So that's one of my strategies. I've always used it. And I still recommend it to this day. I think it's one of the easiest way to do it. And it's simple. There's more, there's more involved. Like a lot of people use QuickBooks. There's other types of software that people use. Whatever works for you,
Right.
just do something. Keep track of stuff. Just do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other thing is, like, at the end of each, whether it's the end of the week or the end of the month, anything else that is an expense that it's helping you run your business, or it's involved in your business operations. Sometimes I do like a snag it screenshot, because I get an online invoice, not something that's really like, they give you a web page link, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
downloadable PDF. So I just take that screenshot, and I will take that and forward it over, email it over to NicoleTax@gmail.com. So even if you don't get something that's an actual PDF, you still can grab that screenshot and reconcile as often as you can. Try to reconcile your business, as much of it, like maybe on Sunday, dedicate an hour to just balancing out everything. You should always know whether or not you're into profit. You should know.
Absolutely.
You should always know that. You should know whether or not, you need to keep doing this e-commerce thing or something else. If you're not making any money and you've been doing it for 3 years, then you should probably stop doing it.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Yeah, absolutely. Do something different, because like Nicole, the strategies that you use are so simple. You don't have to have this grandiose type thing. Do you want to get to where you have structured bookkeeping and all of that? Yes. You want to be able to completely outsource that. But if you're just getting started, getting these simple things in place now is only going to help you when it's time to file your taxes, if you get audited, all of those things. So that once a week thing, amen, honey, because I live by that. Okay. There's a day in my calendar where I go through, bank statements and reconcile those bank statements monthly. Yeah. Okay. And I'll be sitting up here like, okay, I can't find this $1.59. We can't go home till we find this $1.59. Okay. So, but this is the business of doing business. Yes. Getting out here and making the money is great, but you got to elevate yourself to operate like a true business owner. I have a client. She can sell anything online. She can sell ice to Eskimo online. She got 7 figures, like easy peasy lemon squeezy online. But who just showed up for a year's worth of bookkeeping? Because we're
here for your records. We're here for your records.
So you can't, don't wait until the end of the year to do what your bookkeeping, regardless of how simple you think it is. Because, these days you can't remember yesterday. Forget what you did 6 months ago, and you ain't thinking about what you did in January.
Okay, so let's keep it 100. I'm gonna tell you right now, especially with these kids being at home for school this whole time, like, I can't remember nothing.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down with my business partner and trying to reconcile e-com sellers, and I was like, oh my God, like, Nicole, because I had 9,000 things going on, so I literally had to play catch up for like 3 months, and I normally don't list stuff.
Yeah. That's why I told you. I was like, when you was like, hey, I was like, oh God, I'm the delinquent person that everybody hates when they're trying to schedule. I am so sorry.
Yeah. And here's the deal. You have to give yourself a little bit of grace and mercy. But if you have awareness is key. And then once you have the awareness, then take the action. Like I said, I had to confess, like, okay, 3 months worth. And she was like, do you have them? No, I don't have anything. I literally been dealing with this principal over here and this school over there, and what work didn't you turn in, and why are you watching YouTube videos, and how come you have your phone when your teacher's doing math and you're not supposed to be using your calculator when she's doing math with you, and
it's not just you. Every parent is having these same conversations with their kids.
Yes. So I'm like, so every day I'm dealing with something with kids. So when it was my window to actually reconcile my books, like, I had to move it to another time, in which I call them James Brown and Rick James or frickin' Frack or whatever. Mm-hmm. Whenever they go to sleep, I'm like, okay, now I get to sit down and try and reconcile some numbers and see where
you are. Yeah.
Yes. So it's time to make those changes and make sure that you do that. Look, 2020 has been
a rough year.
Nightmare for several people. And your choices and decisions that you made in 2020 could follow you into 2021 from a tax standpoint.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh my God, I just need 2021 to be over. Because if they follow you into 2021 because you got audited or something and you have not put anything in place, you're going to not have a really good 2021.
Yeah.
You do not want to spend any quality time with the IRS. I don't want to spend any time with the IRS. So it's time to start putting some processes in place. It's time to check yourself. It's time to do the things that you know are going to help you to not have a horrific 2021 because you got this big giant tax bill or you have questions and no answers.
Yeah.
I mean, questions and no answers. It is very simple. To take this, I mean, I can take a screenshot of it. I can scan it in and forward it to something else so that it's right there, just in case there's any questions. My other son is in here watching some YouTube video. The joys. Well, LuSundra, is there anything else that they need to consider, think about for 2021?
Yeah, so I will end with this. Please ask for help, because we are in that DIY mindset of why should I pay this person or whatever when I can do it myself. I'm going to tell you to ask for help. Okay, because like I said, with all of these changes that are going on, with all of these tax credits and all of this other foolishness going on, and like you said, Nicole, it's been a horrible year, and it's global. It's been a horrible year globally. Okay,
horrible year.
And so that's what I'm going to say. Be okay with asking for the help that you need. Like, that's it. Like, it's okay.
Yep. Yep. All right. So I hope this was a blessing to you all. Go back and rewatch it. Share it out to somebody. If you have any questions, reach out to LuSundra. You know, if she doesn't have the answers, she'll tell you she doesn't have the answers, but she'll do what she can to get you the information. If she can't serve you or support you at this moment because her plate is full, then she will find some way to connect you with someone that can service to you. And, you know, get the help that you need. Don't drag with the choices you made into 2020 into 2021 if you can help it. And if you get audited, just make sure all of your ducks in a row. I am going to confess right now, Renata already knows this, like for Christmas and for like the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, like I'm re-reconciling the rest of the year because I think she and I got together. I can't remember what day it was. Like it was like July or something. And I just reconciled books. So now I'm going back and just re-reconciling. I don't need any crazy for 2021. I'm not trying to drag crazy into 2021. I think we have all spent enough time with crazy. So
what's that meme that says 2020 is about to turn to 2021 and start drinking?
Something. And so, you know, do what you can so that you're not caught off guard or have some surprises. And y'all need to be ready because she's giving you a heads up right now about the increased audits. So if you're doing some stuff right now you shouldn't be doing, or you're not doing some stuff you should be doing, you need to change that and fix it. You don't need to be carrying crazy around with you. Build new habits. Build new habits for 2021 so that your life is a little bit easier.
Yep.
All right. Well, I hope you were able to help us today.
Absolutely.
I would say right now, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, all of that.
Because I will be in the trenches the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th, which is in the trenches with these numbers, with these spreadsheets. I got to reconcile all this stuff.
Yep.
Be in the trenches. They'd be like, "What you doing for Christmas?" Well, I'm celebrating baby Jesus and
I'm still filing returns. I'm still preparing returns. That's how bad it is. So
it's a crazy year. And I'm probably gonna go out and do some retail arbitrage on the 26th only because I like clearance. So put some more stuff in the storage unit. All right, or send it up to a prep center.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, LuSundra.
Absolutely.
All right. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thanks again.